Greetings fellow wizards. Today I decided to make a video about this game because I just finished it in around a week, and I have to say I had a lot of fun, which quite surprised me in fact, because when this game came out in 2015 I was one of those who decided to wait. There was a lot of backlash, criticism over the buggy release and things that weren't working, like the DM mode, as well as multiplayer. But what I was interested in was in just trying out the campaign. So this is what the video will cover. Oh, and keep in mind that if you don't already own the game or have a friend you can borrow it from, you're gonna have to be resourceful enough to navigate a torrent of challenges so that you can find a way to experience this hidden gem. With that said, let's talk about character creation. Like any RPG based on D&D, you have to have a good character creation, and I think it's pretty solid. You see that the backgrounds all give you more bonuses than usual, but as you will see in this game, a lot of things got really buffed, but so did the enemies. So all in all, some of them I quite like. Here you have a few sliders that you can move around, mess with the horns. I quite like the tiefling look. So yeah, you can also choose your starting gear, weapon and armor. As for stats, you have the point by 27 point system, so that's pretty nice. And here's where it gets a little bit different. Every level you get 3 ability points that you can put in skill trees, and these are the things that you're normally used to for your class. So Warlock, for example, here has Pact of the Blade, Pact of the Chain, Pact of the Tome, as well as the 3 patrons and some basic Warlock stuff as well. And yeah, you can actually have 3 pacts and 3 patrons, which is quite interesting. I mean, surely if you play D&D, you can convince your dungeon master to have 3 patrons, right? Right? And you also have general proficiencies that you can invest your points in. So yeah, finally you can choose alignment, voice, deity, and I just named my warlock Diablo because he is power hungry, and this is it, like an ARPG.
Embrace the magic.
So before I created my warlock, I actually tried the paladin, and I was very convinced that I was going to be good at this game. After all, I've been playing D&D for a long time. However, I wasn't expecting that the enemies were going to be actually hard. And yeah, this is what happens to my paladin. Right after he charges a group of mercenaries, he dies instantly. And so does the rest of the party. It's a TPK. So yeah, I just had to restart. But this just gave me a good feeling that, you know, there is some difficulty in the game. And I would have to say that the difficulty lasts for a good while, at least over 10 levels. I also really enjoyed the companions. Take a look at the voice acting here.
When the battle was over, I pretended to be dead. It's something necromancers are pretty good at. And then when they started dragging away the bodies, I just stayed dead. Eventually they dropped me off here.
I can't tell if you're a coward or a genius.
Definitely both.
So yeah, each companion has their own personal quest, and they all have a unique skill tree as well. But let's talk about the build that I created for my character, which at the end of the game was level 18 Warlock. So I assume max level should be 20. And like in 5e, your max stat is 20, but as you can see, items can push that really far. So I had 30 charisma and 24 strength, so that I could melee effectively as well as crowd control the enemies. So Pact of the Chain gives me a nice familiar that tanks very well, in fact. Chains of Carcery is the hold monster equivalent, so I really enjoyed initiating with that. Hex in this game not only gave you more necrotic damage, but also debuffed them -4 to saving throws, which I quite liked and reminds me of the Hex in Pathfinder. Pact of the Blade, even though you don't have invocations in this game, it comes with a life drinker and a second attack, so that's also nice. And for the Thorns build that I created, I used Armor of Agathis, Fire Shield, as well as Hellish Rebuke from Tiefling. So basically I had 3 good sources of damage if I got hit. And yeah, that was a fun strategy, as well as very potent attacks. Also got some passives here for more defenses. And Darkon's Blasting is also 20 temp HP that stacks every time I kill a creature. And Hurling Through Hell was also a later game option that... Well, let me just show you the gameplay. Basically here I have my shields up, and I prefer to engage in melee with the familiar and the spiritual hammer, while the rest of the party is mostly backline with the cleric, rogue, and the wizard. So you can see there the Big B's grasping hand from the wizard there, which is also a very nice spell. And I was able to paralyze the Vrock. I don't know. Oh, Vrock and Dratches. Does that remind you of another game? But you can see here we're clearing the enemies pretty fast. And yo, did you see that 246 damage? So I had to pause here, and you will see that it was the Hurling Through Hell that critted. No, don't ask me how it crit, but it did. But you know what was even more fun? Using a Vorpal sword that can instant kill on a crit. And here's the crazy and fun part about this game. You see these rings, they increase my crit range at the point that I had a 14 to 20 crit range. And yeah, here's my Vorpal sword. And yeah, basically, and if you look at the armor, you also see that it gives me more thorns damage, that it deals radiant damage back to attackers. So really, you can just come up with a build, and yeah, there's gonna be really overpowered items that you can use for the build. So it's just like an ARPG, basically. So if you look at this game like an ARPG with some D&D characteristics, you are gonna have a fun time, I promise you that. The settings and atmosphere are also pretty beautiful, even to this day. Here is Luskan, for example, also known as the City of Sails. You get quests with the ship captains, and I believe the inn, the Cutlass, is also present in many of the companions' travels, which was Drizzt, Wolfgar, Brunner, and Canterbury.
The last lane holds the Cutlass. You'll be warm enough there. Welcome to Luskan.
You also get to visit other cool cities like this Dwergar capital in the Underdark. Grakostug, I believe, is the name, and you might find it in the Out of the Abyss adventure for D&D. And even though the game doesn't go very deep into any of the lore, I think it gives the right atmosphere or mood for the type of location. For example, Dwergar cities are very industrial, as you can see here, near volcanic areas. So overall, pretty cool. Also, I have a question for you. Do you think this scene could maybe have inspired Baldur's Gate 3? I'm pretty sure you know what scene in Baldur's Gate I'm talking about. I mean, surely they looked at this game while creating Baldur's Gate 3 and they thought, this could be cool. But I digress. Let's talk about puzzles. There are some puzzles in the game. Overall, I quite enjoyed them. Nothing overly too complicated, but also makes you think a little. This one was particularly fun. Of course, I won't show the solution in case you haven't played this game yet. But anyways, traveling is also pretty easy. Traveling between areas, pretty straightforward. You also get sometimes the opportunity to fight random encounters, and I find they're pretty okay as well. You're not just thrust into the encounter, you have a little time to prepare, and yeah, overall I really enjoyed the game. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Have you played Sword Coast Legends or not? Mind you, this has been a fresh experience for me. I never played the game before, so no nostalgia or anything. I just enjoyed it.
Thank you for watching, fellow wizard, and may magic be with you.